I'm standing in my kitchen, hands sticky with fruit syrup, slowly stirring a pot of peaches as steam fogs the windows. This kitchen has seen joy, grief, prayers whispered into the night, and healing I once thought impossible. The smell of sugar and fruit reminds me of my grandmother, of safety, of a time before everything shattered. My name is Dorothy May Parker. I'm 67 years old, and I've lived in Willow Springs, Missouri, for decades now. Most people here know me as the lady who sells homemade preserves at the Saturday farmers market. What they don't know what I kept buried for over 20 years is why these jars mean survival to me. Each jar lined on my counter represents a day I chose to stay alive. Before I tell you why, let me invite you into this space with me. If you're listening, take a breath, sit comfortably, and if you believe stories matter, stay with me until the end. I wasn't always this calm woman stirring fruit over a low flame. Once I was a frightened young girl living under the roof of a man who should have protected me and instead became the darkest chapter of my life. I was born in a small Missouri town called Hermann. My childhood began simply. My mother sewed clothes in our living room on an old machine that hummed like a lullaby. My father worked at a sawmill and came home smelling of wood and sweat. I remember his laugh more than his face. Then, when I was 5, he never came home again. My mother became a widow at 28 with 2 children and no safety net. My older brother, Bobby, stepped into the role of protector without being asked. He taught me how to climb trees, how to fish, how to stand up for myself. As long as Bobby was near, I felt safe. But life shifted when my mother met a man at church, a landowner with money, a strong voice, and a convincing smile. To the outside world, he was generous and respectable. To us, at first, he seemed like salvation. We moved to his farm. A big house, acres of land, space we'd never had before. But something about him never sat right with Bobby. He's not who he pretends to be, my brother warned me once, his voice low. I didn't understand then. I wanted to believe we were finally safe. I didn't know that safety was already slipping away, and I had no idea that the moment my brother was forced to leave, everything would fall apart. I thought losing my brother meant losing my shield, but I didn't yet understand the kind of danger that was waiting once he was gone. When my brother was driven out of that house, silence moved in like a storm cloud that never left. I was 14, and the farm no longer felt open, it felt sealed shut. My stepfather changed almost overnight. His kindness became control. His authority became fear. He drank more, watched me more, spoke to me in ways that made my skin crawl. Compliments turned into comments. Glances lingered too long. My mother faded during this time. Pills replaced her voice. She slept through days and drifted through nights. I tried to wake her, to tell her something was wrong, but she never truly heard me. School ended for me at 15. He said girls didn't need education, only obedience. I worked from dawn to night, cooking, cleaning, feeding animals, doing everything asked of me without question. Resistance wasn't allowed. The house had rules. My body had rules. My silence was mandatory. At 16, his accidental touches began. A hand brushing my waist, fingers resting on my shoulder, a grip that lasted a second too long. I froze every time, unsure whether to scream or disappear. I tried once to ask for help at church. I didn't even finish my sentence before his hand clamped around my arm, his smile wide for others, his grip painful for me. "Nobody will believe you," he whispered later. And I believed him. By 18, hope felt like a childish memory. I tried to run away once. He found me before sunrise, dragged me back, locked me in my room without food. That's when I understood I wasn't living there. I was trapped. I prayed every night. Not for happiness, just for survival. At 19, something inside me went numb. I stopped fighting. I focused on staying alive one day at a time. But fear has a way of announcing itself before disaster. I could feel it coming. His words became more direct, his patience thinner, his eyes colder. It felt like standing under a sky so heavy you know the storm will break, but you don't know when. And then came a day so hot the air itself felt angry. The water pump failed. I took a quick wash outside, wrapped myself in a towel, and ran inside thinking I was alone. I was wrong. I didn't know that stepping inside that house in a towel would mark the moment my life almost ended or the miracle that would save it. I was halfway down the hallway when he blocked my path. The smell of alcohol hit me first. His eyes followed every inch of me like I was prey. I clutched my towel, trying to pass, trying not to breathe too loudly. He grabbed my arm. His strength overwhelmed me. I slipped on the floor as he dragged me, my screams swallowed by the walls of that house. My mother didn't wake. She never did. He locked the bedroom door. The towel was ripped away. Shame burned hotter than fear. I begged. I prayed. I promised anything. He laughed. I remember thinking this was it. This was where my life would stop. And then the closet door opened. The sound was loud, sharp, impossible. He froze. So did I. Out of the darkness stepped my brother, older, stronger, silent. In his hand was a blade. Time didn't move. The man who ruled our lives collapsed into terror. My brother's voice was calm, steady, deadly. Let her go. The grip on my wrists vanished. I pulled the sheet around myself, shaking, barely able to breathe. My brother didn't shout. He didn't rush. He controlled the room with nothing but presence. I knew then my prayers had been heard. My brother had returned for documents that morning, planning to leave again before anyone noticed. He heard the struggle. He hid. He waited. And when the moment came, he chose me. He tied the man who hurt us, took away his power, stripped him of every ounce of fear he'd forced on us for years. Then he turned to me. "We're leaving," he said. I dressed with trembling hands. We woke our mother, took only what mattered, walked away from the house that had nearly destroyed us. As the car pulled onto the road, dust rising behind us, I looked back once. That place no longer owned me. I didn't know what waited ahead. Poverty, hard work, healing that would take years, but I knew one thing with certainty. I was free. Freedom saved my life, but surviving was only the beginning of learning how to truly live again. Kansas City was loud, crowded, unfamiliar, but it was safe. Safety felt strange at first, like wearing new shoes that didn't quite fit. The first months were brutal. My mother withdrew from the drugs she'd been given for years. My brother and I worked whatever jobs we could find. I took a position at a shoe factory. The work was exhausting, repetitive, and painful, but every paycheck felt like proof that I belonged to myself. Healing wasn't fast. Nightmares followed me. Sudden noises froze my body. Trust took years to rebuild, but life has a way of meeting patience with grace. I met a man who spoke gently, who waited, who never demanded. With him, I learned that love doesn't hurt, that respect is quiet, that safety can exist between two people. We built a family, raised children with boundaries, honesty, and protection. I made a promise that the cycle would end with me, and it did. Years later, retirement brought me to Willow Springs, a town that welcomed me without questions. Here I returned to what once brought comfort: cooking, preserving fruit, sharing sweetness. Each jar I make carries more than flavor. It carries survival. It carries proof that pain doesn't get the final word. Today, I wake up early, drink strong coffee, stir fruit slowly, and thank God for every ordinary moment. If you're listening to this and carrying a secret that feels too heavy, please hear me. Survival is not the end of your story. It's the first line of a new one. And if a broken girl from a locked room can become a woman at peace, what might still be waiting for you? Thank you for staying until the end. This is Untold Story, where voices ignored for too long are finally heard. If this story moved you, there are many more waiting to be told. Subscribe to Untold Story for more real tales of strength.